want to introduce you to a friend of mine. His name is Les Thomas. You might know Les. He's the hype man for OSU. He's a musician, a community leader, a speaker, and an author. I know Les as a close friend who I admire more and more every day. Les is someone who has held on to hope, and he continues to overcome again and again. And in the storms of life, he knows who is in his boat.
No, I didn't think I would be here. Growing up the way that I grew up, tough environment, poverty-stricken, single-parent home. When I look back at my life now, it's a lot of times where I'm in awe, and I have to be reminded that I'm God's child and that I deserve to be where I'm at, and it's through His glory and through His grace that I've made it here. I have to remind myself, because sometimes I feel a little guilty, if I'm being honest with you. I kind of look at my life and many people that I grew up with, and we didn't have much hope. We didn't have much going on for us. And a lot of people that I grew up with are no longer here, or they're in bad situations like in jail or whatever. So a moment in my life that changed the trajectory of my life, my mom had to take me to court. Me and my friends did something pretty bad. It was really bad, but we had to go to court. And while the judge was speaking to us, you know, when the judge speaks, you're silent. Last thing you want to do is interrupt the judge. But when you're walking in the authority of that God has given you, it kind of can supersede, overpower other authorities. And I remember that day, a very stressful day, because my mom didn't know if I was going to have to go to juvenile prison or what was going to happen. But while the judge was speaking mid-sentence, my mom interrupted the judge. She faced me. She looked at me and she grabbed me by my cheeks, and she got real close to my face and she said, "Do not allow these people to make you think that you are a bad person." She said, "God has called you to greatness, and I rebuke Satan off your life." She's like, "God has called you to greatness. Do not allow them to think that you're a bad person." And she said, "I believe in you. We believe in you, and you're going to do great things." And like tears were flowing down my mom's face. Tears was flowing down my face. And at that moment, like that single moment created hope in my heart and in my mind and even in my walk. It reminds me of a quote from Gertrude. He said, "If you look at a man how they are, they'll get worse. But if you look at a man how they could be, they will become what they should be." And so in that moment, my mom was telling me what I could be, and that helped me become what I should be, which is who I am now. I had a lot of disappointment at that age. You know, losing friends to the streets, my dad not being in the house. You know, my brothers was much older than me, so they were gone. And, you know, my mom and I, we used to have to get on our hands and knees just to scrape up change to put in our gas tank. We used to have to flip the sofas. We used to have to go to the vehicles. And, you know, back then you can get up under the carpet in the older cars. You know, so we would have to go and just to put 80 cents in the tank. You know, I remember having to eat, you know, cereal with water at times. And so for my mom to say that she saw greatness in me at a time where I didn't even know what greatness was. What does greatness look like? I knew about God, but when I look at my surroundings, it didn't reflect anything great. And so when she said that to me, it just really moved me that this woman said that I'm called to do something great, and I hadn't done anything great. I hadn't seen anything great. I hadn't witnessed anything great, but she told me that I was called to greatness. You know, so I mean, like, that moves me right now. It still fuels me today. It gave me an abundance of hope, knowing that like hope is my anchor. Like, you know, even when the waves of life come through my life, when the waves of life come, I may float a little bit, but because I have hope as an anchor, I can only go so far. You know, so that was an anchor moment for me. That was a moment where my mom threw out the anchor and life could like try to pull me away. But when that chain is tight because I have an anchor, I can't drift away. You know, currently I run a mentoring program in inner city Oklahoma City. I deal with a lot of at-risk youth, and even, you know, some youth that people would think that, you know, what can they produce? What can come out of this? And so I've been running a mentoring program for Youth for Christ for over 10 years. And that's an opportunity for me to use my life as an example to say that it doesn't matter what you've done in your life, it don't matter what's going on. Yeah, you may not be able to control the environment that you're in right now, but that doesn't mean that you can't have a great life. It doesn't mean that you can't be the best you that you can be. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't worry about impressing those who we think matter. My thing is, I want to give hope to that mom. I want to give hope to that dad. I want to give hope to that kid that has made some mistakes, that think that they can't overcome that. So, you know, any capacity of hope. And then, you know, my job at OSU, I'm the game day host for Oklahoma State. So I'm the guy that's on the microphone, making sure the fans have a great time. You know, I'm on the big screen and we're having a great time. But here's the thing. People look at me and they see hype. They like, this is a hype man. But what they don't know, that I'm really a hope man. Listen, man, I flunked the 5th grade. I got kicked out of school in the 7th grade. I had a son at 19, and look at what I'm doing now. I serve my country. I have a healthy family. I have a healthy marriage. I have 3 albums out. My book is going to release here soon. But that's not bragging. That's saying that, hey, my life, I'm a walking hope man. So people look at me and say, it's something about him. Like, he's doing his job and he's doing it well, but it's something different. Like, he has a joy that I can't explain or pinpoint. But when they come into my circle and they talk to me, they get to find out what that joy is. That joy is Jesus Christ.